What's up, everybody? Happy Friday. Welcome to the channel. It's Friday. This is time I traditionally go live and have you guys ask questions. We call it Ask Ron Live or whatever we want to call it. Before we get started, please, if you like this channel, subscribe, like, share, and ring that notification bell. The sharing thing, pretty easy. Share it on your own social media. Other people can enjoy the video and hopefully subscribe and do all that good stuff. So I did get a few questions submitted. So I'm going to start with those and then go to, hopefully you guys have some more questions. We'll see what goes on. And in advance, happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. I know it's Sunday. I'm not sure if it's the same in other countries, this Sunday, Father's Day, but it is here in the U.S. So let us begin. The first question I want to get to, does walking a mile burn the same amount of calories as running a mile? And I'll tell you where this wasn't a question that actually came from someone. This came from a post on Coach Greg Doucette, Coach Greg's Instagram. And here it was. So he says, it doesn't really matter if you're running, you're walking, the amount of calories that you burn is almost the same, as long as you're going the same distance. Obviously, running allows you to travel the same distance in less time, so you burn more calories in less time. If you don't like running or just prefer to walk, you can walk the same distance and the calories burned will be almost exactly the same. Most people don't know this either, but if you want to target your belly fat, yeah, well. Okay, so yeah, I vehemently disagree with that. And I needed some more evidence beyond my bro science crap. So did a little Googling, and here's what I came up with as for why running the same distance burns more calories than walking that distance, as should be obvious, but I needed a little bit more science. So here's what I came up with from physics standpoint. Why does running burn more calories than walking over the same distance? So primarily due to the difference in the mechanical work done by the body during these two activities. Here are a few key points to consider. One, speed and intensity. Running typically involves a higher speed and intensity compared to walking. When you run, you are exerting more force and power to move your body forward at a faster pace. This increased intensity requires more energy expenditure, leading to a higher calorie burn. Number two, air resistance. When you run, this is kind of minimal, I think. You encounter higher air resistance due to your increased speed. Overcoming this resistance requires more energy compared to walking, where air resistance is lower. This additional energy expenditure contributes to the higher calorie burn during running. I don't think that's that important. Number three, muscle engagement. Running engages more muscle groups compared to walking, especially in the core, legs, and arms. The increased muscle activation during running leads to a higher metabolic rate and greater calorie burn, both during the activity and in the post-exercise recovery period. Number four, impact and energy expenditure. Running involves a greater impact on the joints and bones compared to walking, requiring more energy to support and propel the body forward. This increased energy expenditure during running contributes to a higher overall calorie burn. And finally, economy of motion. Walking is a more efficient form of locomotion compared to running in terms of energy expenditure per unit distance. When you run, your body experiences more vertical oscillation and higher ground reaction forces, which require additional energy to maintain forward motion. Okay. Whew. So I kind of instinctively knew all that. Let me just make sure you guys can hear me. You can hear me. So yeah, because I walk probably about 4 or 5 miles every day just with my dog. I walk my dog in the morning and again in the afternoon. These are like 45-minute walks. It's a route around my part of town. And I can tell you, if I was running that same distance, because I have run in the past, at least on a treadmill. I'm not really good at running on pavement. I get leaner. I burn more calories, even if it's the same exact distance. So to say that walking a mile and running a mile is going to burn the same amount of calories, it's just not true. I don't know what the difference is, and I'm sure there's a lot of factors to put into consideration, but I bet it's something like 2, 3, 4 times more calories running that you're going to expend versus walking. I made a comment in Doucette's post there saying, plenty of overweight people walk a lot every day and they never lose any weight. They'll say, well, it's their diet. Yeah, obviously it's their diet, but let's just say that their diet doesn't change. Instead of walking 5 miles every day, they run 5 miles a day. You're trying to tell me that's not going to burn more calories in the final analysis? Of course it is. And for those reasons we just went over. All right, let's get into another question. From Big Mike Cox, my man out there in Florida, originally from Cleveland, Ohio. Of all the pros you trained with, who trained the hardest? So it's a tough question to answer. I haven't trained with a ton of pros. it's probably something like between 12 and 20. I didn't really, if I ever sat there and really figured it out, but I'd say the two hardest were Jose Raymond and Branch Warren. I only trained with Branch once, but I trained with Jose probably 30, 40, 50 times over the years. I don't know how many times. I used to go up to his gym when he lived up in the Woburn area. I used to go up to that gym like once a week and train with him. He's a very, very hard trainer, trains to failure, super strong, full range of motion, goes past failure all the time. At least this is how he trained. This is when he was still competing. Very, very fierce trainer. Branch Warren, I only trained with Branch that one time, but the circumstances were, it was a year and like 2 days ago. It was 10 years ago, earlier this week. I made a post on my socials about it. So we were both working for Gaspari at the time. I was still working for MD as a writer, but I was working for Gaspari Nutrition for about 10 or 12 years as a writer and doing various things for them. So Branch was an athlete of Gaspari's at the time, and he was up here in my area doing appearances, supplement shops, supplement stores mainly. So we had gone to one in Everett early night. We went to 2 appearances that day, and it was a lot of driving, and then he had to stand there and talk to people and take pictures for, I think they were like about 3 hours each. Went to eat after the second appearance, which was in my area. It was the Cape Cod Nutrition down in Easton, which is about 4 or 5 miles down the road from me. And of course, it's my dream. I'd love to train legs with the guy who's got some of the best legs in the history of bodybuilding. So we trained legs, but so we had been driving around doing these appearances all day. We get into the gym. It's like already 8 o'clock at night. This is June. It was super hot and humid. The air conditioning was either not working at all or it was not working very well at my gym at the time. It was very hot and humid and sticky in that gym. After like just a few sets, I was already like dripping in sweat and like getting nauseated because of the fried chicken I had eaten for dinner foolishly. So Branch, the way he trained was very, very fast paced. That's what people don't realize, that they just harp on, his ballistic form, which on legs he doesn't really use, or he didn't, compared to what you see in him doing for like back and chest and arms and shoulders. He's not like that when it comes to legs. It was a lot more slow and controlled. But he doesn't rest much. As soon as I would do a set, he was doing a set, and I was expected to go next. It's very quick pace with very little rest, very heavy weights, to failure and beyond, drop sets, supersets. It was just a brutal leg workout. It was a good 90 minutes plus after all that in one day. So that was a hell of a workout. But that was a tough workout. When I trained with Ronnie, it wasn't the same because it was a group of like, I think there were 6 of us doing legs together. And you know how long that can take. So I would actually say it's a toss up as far as pros. Jose Raymond and Branch Warren is the hardest pros I ever trained with. Favorite Peter McGuff memory. This also came from Mike Cox. So Peter, the late Peter McGuff, can't say enough great things about the man. He is the greatest writer. There's no one's, now that we have no writers anymore, basically, because everything's gone digital, it's all YouTube. I think it's safe to say no one's ever going to even come close to him as a writer. Greatest writer in bodybuilding history. He was the editor of Flex Magazine for, I want to say, about 10 years. And Flex Magazine was at its peak when it was like 400 pages and the collector's editions and all that. It was when Peter was the editor. And he later went to MD. And I finally got to work with him and finally got to know him after all those years of just sort of being a fan from afar and admiring his work and everything. Couldn't believe what a cool guy, how down to earth he was, humble, funny, of course, super intelligent. A lot of my best memories of him are from that first year when 2017, January, I became the online editor as well as a senior writer. David Bay had just left the position or been let go of the position, whatever. It was like 6, 7 people had that job. And I reluctantly took it. And I was very much doubtful of my abilities to do that job. And Peter was one of the ones, it was him, and Sean Ray was helpful in that aspect too, as far as talking things through. Gave me the confidence to believe that I could do it. I had never been in any type of managerial role before. I was just happy being a writer, being behind the scenes. And now I had to oversee all the contest coverage, video, make sure we had the video content up on our YouTube channel. basically overseeing everything on the YouTube channel and on the website. It was a lot for me, someone who had only been a writer up to that point. And he helped me out quite a bit. But one of my best specific memories of him, I'm going to show you, was from the Arnold Classic. My first Arnold Classic, the very first show I had to cover as the online editor was the 2017 Arnold Classic. So I got thrown into it at the second biggest show of the year. Peter was there. Sean Ray was there. We were all working together. And I'm going to show you a video clip. It was backstage. So after the shows, we would try to get all the winner interviews. The 212 winner that year, 2017, was Ahmad Ashkenani from Kuwait. And you guys might remember this was a big incident where Sean was interviewing him, and he had sort of pulled Ahmad away from, I think Dave Palumbo was trying to interview him for RX, and he did get the interview later. We all just had to kind of like wait our turns. There was like 4 or 5 media outlets backstage set up, and we all had to sort of, the poor athletes had to do like 5 interviews in a row. So anyway, Sean grabbed Ahmad before Dave could start his interview. Dave came over, crashed the interview with his microphone, and let's take a look at that. I was about to interview 30 seconds ago. Peter, don't get thrown out. 30 seconds ago. I'm not getting thrown out anyway. I didn't do anything wrong. You got it on film. We got it on film. We're show it. Live, show. I was about to interview someone and you won't. Why is that? Talk to me. Talk to me. All right, so if you couldn't hear what Peter said, I know it's kind of hard to hear with all that background noise. He said, it's about the athletes. It's not about you. He might have said it's not about you, Dave. I'm not sure. So he was saying, he was basically reprimanding Dave for crashing the interview and making a big scene when we're trying to showcase the athlete, Ahmad. I know Dave's side of the story is that they were about to interview him and Sean stole him away and whatever. Who cares? It's all, how many years ago? That's 7 years ago now. But I was kind of upset because Dave later posted that he believed Peter was drunk, and that's what caused him to crash, to burst in there like that and say that to Dave. I think he might have even shoved Dave. I'm not sure, but Peter was not drunk. I was around him, and I know I was sitting next to him in the front row watching the show with him. I know what it smells like when people are drinking and have alcohol in their system and on their breath, and he didn't have it. He was actually fighting cancer at the time. He lost that fight a couple years later, unfortunately. Rest in peace, Peter. But Dave went and said he was drunk. He wasn't drunk. He was actually going through chemotherapy at the time. And that really bothered me. To this day, it bothers me. Peter didn't deserve that. He was just such a warm, generous, kind human being, a storehouse of knowledge, and he would help out anybody. So many bodybuilders, came forward to post after he had passed, saying, anytime I just want to call someone up and talk about something I was going through or some problems I was having, he was always there to listen, to offer any help or advice that he could. That's just the type of guy that he was. He was amazing human being. Final question that came in before we started this live was from Pete Pingle, and I abbreviated it. Why do you think most of today's competitors use trainers and nutritionists / coaches / gurus? Guys like Arnold, Lee Haney, Frank Zane, Mike Mentzer, Dorian Yates, and Sean didn't. They did it all on their own. Yeah, you're right. That's true. Coaching did not become a thing until like the late 90s. I don't remember anybody having coaches. That's not to say that there weren't coaches and people weren't acting as coaches. I remember Chris Aceto working closely with Jay Cutler throughout Jay Cutler's amateur career and well into his pro career. I think they started working together like around 93. My old boss, Lou Zwick, was the one that referred Jay to Chris Aceto, and they started working together. I think their first show together was 93 Teen Nationals, where Jay won heavyweight class, lost the overall to the light heavy Branch Warren. True story, 1993. I remember Neil Spruce, a guy out in Venice, used to help some pros. I believe he was the guy that was helping Flex Wheeler in that rookie season, 1993, when he won the Arnold Classic and he won 3 or 4 more Grand Prix shows that year and took second in his first time at the Olympia. And of course, toward the end of the decade, Chad Nichols became very renowned for helping Flex Wheeler, and then Ronnie Coleman became his first Olympia champion. He'd also coached his wife, Kim Chizevsky Nichols, to 4 Olympia wins, Ms. Olympia wins. So why did it become such a thing? Coaching is part of every sport. Every professional sport has coaches. So it shouldn't really seem so unusual that we have coaches to guide bodybuilders. I think the most valuable thing the coaches can do is to have an objectivity that often the bodybuilder himself can't really have toward the final stages of contest prep. I think a lot of us, any of you who have competed, will know you're looking in the mirror, especially those last, let's say, 3 to 5, 6 weeks. Sometimes you're seeing things that aren't there. A lot of times you're seeing things that are either you're in better condition than you really are, or you're in worse condition than you really are. You're seeing it differently. You might think, okay, I'm lean enough right now. When a good coach who knows exactly what kind of condition you need to be in will say, no, you're not. We need to keep pushing. You might decide, oh, I'm flattening out. I need some more carbs. I need a cheat meal. And a coach could either agree with you based on what he sees and what's going on with your physique, or he might say, no, you don't need a cheat meal. You don't need that. Just stay the course. Let's keep on the same carbs that you're doing right now. We're not going to change a thing. And also the chemical side of the sport has become very, very advanced. There's so many things now beyond just steroids. You got growth hormone, insulin, so many peptides, fat burning drugs, the thyroid meds, the clen, all these peptides, so many different variables, and it's a lot. And not to say that you couldn't research all this on your own and learn exactly safer ways to do it, proper doses, proper timing, when to take these things, but it's a lot easier, especially if you're already tired and hungry all the time from the diet, to just sort of abdicate that to somebody else and trust somebody else to just guide you through the process, where they give you the plan to follow and you just execute it. You don't have to worry. You just do what they say, and on contest day, you show up at your best. And if not, if you followed the coach's advice and guidelines to the T, it's the coach's responsibility on show day how you look, whether you're in shape, out of shape, flat, full, whatever. So I think it's just easier for most bodybuilders, especially as you get up to the highest levels, top amateurs, and of course the pros, to hand the reins over to someone else to guide them through all that. So that's why we have coaches. Let's get rid of that banner. Let's put the subscribe, like, and share one. Keep that up. Now we can go to your comments. Let's go. It's your predictions for M Pro class. Close top 3 in my opinion: Beirut, Krizo, Bonac. Based on what I saw with Bonac today, the last picture that was posted, I actually have the one in his Instagram. I actually have a larger version of. So see if I can share that with you guys. I think I can. Can I share the? No, it won't let me share that. Okay. I thought it would let me share the WhatsApp, but it's not. So I'm going to have to go to Williams. And this is the picture that was posted. So let me show you. Okay. So here's Bonac. This was a photo shoot he did a couple days ago with Jonathan Moreau. I believe someone, was it Raymond Jones here, who joins us on the live a lot. Thanks for being a part of the show a lot, so often, Raymond. He pointed out that a well-known critic, YouTuber, whatever, I think he was talking about Nick Miller from Nick Strength and Power, said he believes, looking at the pictures, that Bonac is down 15 or 20 pounds from his best form, which a lot of people would say was the 2022 Boston Pro, which he won the week after the Arnold, where he lost to Brandon, and a lot of people thought he should have had Brandon beat at that show. I don't see him. Does that look like he's 15, 20 pounds smaller to you? I mean, let me see if I can find if he's got anything posted from his heyday. I'd have to go way back, right? Well, there's a good shot. That's one of his Arnold wins. I know it's not the same pose, so it's kind of hard to tell. But I don't think he's 20 pounds smaller. Is he a little lighter? I don't think. To me, he doesn't look any lighter, but we're going to find out Sunday. What he looks like. So predictions, it's hard to predict because we're seeing each person individually. Oh, there's a good shot. That was what show was that? I'm not sure what show that was, but that was Josh Lenardowitz, the late Cedric McMillan, William, and Rowley. Yeah, good times, man. Yeah, William is my pick for the winner. I'm very impressed with Krizo. Don't get me wrong. I'm a big fan of Krizo. I think Bonak's just look at that back. I mean, that's when we talk about shows being won from the back. This is one of the reasons they say that is because if you have someone who's got a weaker back, and Krizo's back is not like this, it's not thick and dense like that, not at all. He's got some freakish body parts. He's a monstrous guy, but he does not have a back like that. So I don't see him beating William in the back poses. There's another good shot of William. We're going to look at Krizo and we'll look at Tabani. They're all looking fantastic right now. Those three. The guys I had in my thumbnail, I'm pretty confident that's going to be the top three. There's a great shot. So that was after 2016 Mr. Olympia. Photo shoot with Charles Lothian. Great photographer. Got to give it up to these photographers, man. Photographers who really understand lighting and everything. There's a great shot. So that was one of, I think, yeah, that was the Arnold 2022 where a lot of us felt he should have won. Brandon Curry beat him, but he won the Boston Pro a week later. I was there for that. Obviously, I'm in Boston. So, yeah, I mean, the back is where I see him taking out Krizo. Look at Tabani, man. Tabani's no joke either. Tabani is going to give them both hell. He really will. All right, so let's look at Krizo, shall we? Michael Krizonek, a.k.a. Krizo. Great shot. Is that AI? I'm not sure. I don't know if that's a real picture, guys. I'm not entirely sure. There he is on the flyer. Yeah. There he is doing some training. Got those crazy arms, man. He's got some of the best arms I think we've ever seen. Certainly some of the best, certainly among the best arms out there today, if not the best. Look how big and massive those triceps are, for God's sake. They're ridiculous. I'm just wondering if he has any like full body posing stuff. I know I could have had it all preloaded, but I didn't know we're going to. It's from the front, yeah. I mean, from the front, this guy's crazy. He's huge. He's full. He's got a pretty small waist. He's always showing that crab. I mean, if I had a crab like that, I'd always post it too, believe me. That is a hell of a shot for him. It's a hell of a shot. Is that when he won the Prague, I think? Yeah. I'll tell you, from the front, yeah. Legs could be a little bit bigger. They're not small by any means, but look at those arms. When you have arms like that, goodness gracious. Yeah, that's his shot because look at the chest, the delts, and crab shot is, I think that's his best shot. It just showcases all his strong points in one pose. Yeah, Krizo. Krizo's no joke. There's some video from, this is a long time ago. This is 27 weeks ago. Long time ago. Joseph Alt photo. I didn't even need to see the caption. I know the lighting that Joseph uses. He's another one of the greatest photographers out there today. Joseph from Czech Republic, I believe. Oh, here's some video. Okay, so after this we can show you. Yeah, look at it. He's damn good, man. He's damn good. On paper, though, Bonak has been second at the Olympia. He's won the Arnold Classic twice. He's the highest ranked guy on paper. Not to say that he can't be beaten or that he won't be beaten. You never know. Krizo needs more hamstrings too. Nice wide back. It just needs to be thicker. Yeah. I mean, it's not a bad back, but it's not as good as, it doesn't match up to the chest, the shoulders, the arms. Those arms, look at that. Good Lord. He's a specimen. He's a unit, as you guys say. A unit. Yeah. His quads are pretty damn good here. When he's full and in condition, he's so impressive. Last Olympia, he was very flat. Condition was great. Tan was great. So it wasn't too bad. He still ended up in 7th place at the Olympia. I mean, come on now. All right. So let's go to Behruz. Behruz, the pride of Iran. Guy I would love to see compete in the U.S. Love to see him here. If he could get his butt over here. I know he's trying, and it's just, unfortunately, it's red tape. That's an older shot. This is from over a year ago. I think he was getting ready for Arnold South America here, or he had just done Arnold's. Yeah, this was the Arnold South America last year, which he won. Rightfully so. He's doing a little dance. This is not the greatest footage. It looks, yeah, thank you for zooming in a little bit. So he's a lot heavier than I thought. I found out when I talked to his coach, Milo Sarshev. If you haven't watched that interview, it's on this channel. Please check it out. He is about 260 pounds, 120 kilos. Not sure how tall. I'm going to guess he's probably about 5'10". Look at that. Yeah, this footage is not doing him justice because I've seen much, much better. This is probably from like the 10th or 12th row, zooming in. But look at that. Nice ham drop condition. These are some good pics from last fall's Muscle Fest show in Romania. And Samson won. Samson had just taken third in the Olympia. I would expect him to win a Grand Prix show that Derek and Hadi were not at. But you see that Samson's 300 pounds there. Beiruz does not, and Nathan's got a lot of mass too. Nathan's not a small guy himself. Beiruz does not look smaller at all. I personally think that's his best shot. I love that hands clasp most muscular on him. Shows how wide his clavicles are, the muscle quality, and those pecs so splintered and striated. Real good separation in the quads. Nice sweep to the quads, tight midsection. Yeah, Beiruz is no joke. That spread's not a great shot. There's his crab. See how dense he was, and the conditioning. And it's funny how they say, Milos brings in people big and full, but they don't come in shape. What about me? What about Beiruz? Beiruz is in pretty awesome shape. So there he is next to Samson. Samson's obviously got a little bit of width on him. Okay, so they actually look about the same height, wouldn't you say? So Beiruz must be about 6 foot because Samson's 6 foot. Comparison to back shots, Beiruz has a little edge there in that pose, I believe, to Samson. And they're showing their serratus. Judges must have called it abdominal and thigh. Nathan kind of looks like Ramondino there in the face, doesn't he? Yeah, I mean, these Iranian pros, they don't ever seem to come in out of shape, do they? Look at how the deep separation there between the quad and the ham from the side. Those glute striations are carved in. When someone looks this lean in a picture that's this low resolution, they're in great shape. Side try, back double. Yeah, Beiruz is going to be in contention for the win. I'm not counting him out for a minute. Not for a minute. This was just put up today. I mean, I wasn't doubting his condition. I didn't think he was. Look at that back. His back actually looks like it got better to me. Looks like he got some more thickness in that mid back. Great shot for him. This is posing from a couple days ago. Must be because all the comments are from like what Ronnie Coleman say to him. The King Beiruz. Yep. Neil Yoda Hill. It's going to take some crazy looking to beat that. Yeah, I mean, it's Bonac. We don't know if Bonac is back to his best. I don't know if he's going to be better than ever. That'd be hard because he's in his 40s now, and he's been a pro for a while. It's coming up on 15 years. It's close. It's well over a decade. He's been a high level pro. But Beiruz, man, I'm not counting this guy out. I wouldn't bet against him. Krizo, fantastic. Bonac, also great, and Beiruz, all great athletes, guys. All great athletes. I would not want to be a judge because I think it's going to be a close one. It's going to be a nail biter for this. There were a couple other guys in the show too that were, I can't recall off the top of my head, but they're some other high level guys. But I do see that as the top three. That's just my prediction for top three in no particular order. Although I am leaning toward Bonac because he is the most accomplished guy up there. It's not to say that if Beiruz hadn't been able to get to the U.S. that he wouldn't have won maybe the Arnold Classic or done very, very well at the Olympia. He's qualified a couple times, and he just can't get that visa to get over here because the U.S. and Iran have horrible diplomatic relations. Horrible. All right, we're gonna go back to your questions, guys. All right. That was my prediction. Which steroid do you think a man over 50 should not take? Yeah, I mean, I'm 54. I'll be 55 in September. Your health is or should be a massive priority at this stage in your life because typically by now you realize you're not immortal, you're not bulletproof. You've probably had some from gear using friends of yours die at this point. I know I have, and seen plenty of others pass. So, others that have just had major health problems, heart problems, kidney problems, all kinds of things. So you want to stay away from, high doses in general. I mean, what's the point? What are you trying to prove now? You're not going to be making great gains now anyway at this stage in your life, unless you're fairly new to training. If you've been training for I've been training 41 years now. Do you really think there's anything I could do that would get me much bigger than I am? I could slam a shit ton of drugs. I'd get a little bigger, not a lot bigger. So anyway, I'd stay away from those toxic things, the things that can do the most damage. Anadrol. I wouldn't use orals at all. I mean, why mess with your liver at this point? I'd stay away from insulin. Why are you messing with insulin now? People say it can be used safely, but I mean, I would just be very, very conservative at this point in your life. Test, if you're going to stay on test all the time, you can do your blood work to make sure you're not doing a lot of damage, and that's very important. And get your heart scans done, have your calcium score done, ultrasound. I do an ultrasound every year. I do an echocardiogram every year. And I do a stress test every other year. And I think I'm due for another calcium score. I haven't had one of those in a while, although I am on a statin. But I would stay away from the really toxic things, the things that they're very, very powerful, very effective, but they're also the most dangerous, the most risky in terms of your health. And at 50 plus, why would you want to do anything? Now you're getting a sense of your own mortality where you're at least halfway done with your life, at least halfway done. If you're one of those few people that lives to 100, not many people live that long, guys. So let's say you're going to live to like 75 or 80. You're already 2/3 of the way there. So your life, you've already lived most of your life, statistically speaking. So, it's not so much the steroids that you use. It's staying on top of your blood work and your blood pressure and getting your heart scans done every year. I have a cardiologist. I think every gear using bodybuilder or former gear using bodybuilder should have a cardiologist, because the heart is where we have the most problems as gear users. The left, we have that LVH, the left ventricle hypertrophy. We have thicker blood. So you want to make sure you're keeping all that in check. Work closely with your doctor. Let your doctor know exactly what you've done, what you're doing. Don't worry about them judging you. Their job is to keep you healthy. That is their job. They're basically your employee, if you think about it, as a patient. They work for you. You don't work for them. I hope that makes sense. Big Mike Cox says, yo. Muscle Machine says, what's up, Ron? See you at a hall pass. You got Denise. Oh, man, I was going to say Lady Gaga, but now I got to choose a bodybuilder? Okay. Denise Rakowski, and he means Denise Rakowski in her prime. Corey Everson and Diana Dennis. I'd go with Denise. I mean, I didn't know her very well, but I knew Denise a little bit in the early 90s when she first came on the scene. I was at that, I think it was a 1992 Orange County Muscle Classic. It was a big regional show in Southern California. That year they had it at Knott's Berry Farm, the amusement park, and she won. And I think she went on to be 3rd or 4th in the Olympia that very year, because I think she won. I think it all happened in one year. I think she won that, which was like a April or May show. I think she won the USA, and I think she won another show to qualify. I think she won the Jantana. I might be getting a couple of these shows wrong, so please forgive me. Someone's going to go, fact check. Well, this is off the top of my head, guys. And I think she went to the Olympia that very first year and got top 5, maybe even like 3rd. I think she was as high as 3rd at one point. Anyway, she trained at Gold's Gym Venice, and that was a time when my wife and I used to drive out to Gold's Gym Venice. I was a Gold's Gym member, as was my wife, and we trained. We would go to the Gold's in Fullerton, where like Sean Ray, Dennis Newman, Troy Zucolato trained, Greg Reed. We would go there a couple times a week, and a couple times a week, usually 2 or 3 times a week, we would go into Venice because we lived San Gabriel Valley. We weren't really close to either one of them. Anyway, Denise would train there around the same time with her boyfriend at the time, a guy named Jack, and she was just, I've always been into buff women, and I wasn't like ogling her with my wife next to me, but obviously I found her pretty damn sexy. She was jacked, she was beautiful. She had that husky voice, and she used to train in like Daisy Dukes, little high short denim shorts with like you could see like the bottom of her butt cheeks poking out and everything. And so, yeah, if you give me those three in their prime, in their youth, I'd go Denise Rakowski. Let's see, Kultoa Skolna. Skolna. You got that right? Kultoa? Well, thank you. You're in good shape. I don't get heavy anymore. I don't let my body weight go over. I try to stay under 220, around 220. I end up going up to like 225 during the winter months, but I won't go any heavier than that. And once the spring's coming, like right now, I started cleaning up my diet, which I wasn't eating much junk anyway, but I stopped all junk. I still have like something like once a week if I want, but for the summertime, so I start cleaning up my diet like around February, March. So usually by like May, June, I'm down under 220. Like right now, I'm as light as like 216 when I wake up. I can be like 219 by the time I go to bed, but I like to be lean for the summer because I'm not competing anymore. I haven't competed since 2013. So instead, I will typically get in pretty good shape for the summer. I say around 80% of contest condition, and I hold that all the way through till like end of September, early October, and then I start putting a little bit more weight on. Simon Stevens, Ron Hack from the UK. For the average weight train, is 1 hour a day training enough? By the way, the Lee Haney podcast is fantastic. Thank you, Simon. Yeah, if you haven't watched that, guys, please, that's on this channel. Got some good views, but it could always use more views. And he's such a fantastic guy to listen to. So much wisdom, and he makes me just feel good talking to him, Lee Haney. He's such a good person. Yeah, a 1 hour a day training, of course. So there's a big difference between training 1 hour very, very focused versus 2 hours of training where maybe you're like looking at your phone too much, you're chatting with people. It really shouldn't take you more than an hour to train anything except maybe legs. I can get legs done even in an hour and 15 minutes if I'm not yapping and I'm not resting too much and I'm not like wasting time responding to posts and comments when I'm training, which unfortunately I have a horrible habit of doing. Because I feel obligated when a lot of you guys are on my social media. I feel like obligated. If I see a comment on anything, I feel like I have to respond immediately. I feel like I'm supposed to. I don't know why I'm like that. But yeah, an hour, you can get anything done. So like chest, even if you're doing like chest with like triceps or something, you should be able to get that done in an hour. I'm talking about an hour, not counting. So you walk in the gym, put your stuff away, a few minutes to warm up on a treadmill or a bike or something, get the core temperature elevated a little bit. At that point, that's when your hour begins. And you shouldn't need more than an hour to get through any workout except maybe legs. If you're doing legs all together, I'm meaning like quads, hams, and calves all in one workout. Yeah, 1 hour of very focused training is plenty. If you're really focused and you're not resting a whole lot, and you don't need a lot of rest. Of course, if you're doing things like squats and deadlifts, maybe barbell rows, you're going to need more rest than, you do a set of like curls or lateral raises. You shouldn't need more than a minute, maybe a minute and a half at the most before you're ready to do another set. I really just go by when my breathing gets sort of back to normal. And of course, those exercises that are real big compound movements like the squats and the deadlifts, those are going to take a little bit more out of you. You're going to be breathing a lot heavier. It's going to take a little bit longer for sure to recover and be ready to do another set. But yeah, you should be able to get anything done in an hour aside from legs. Kalyan Krishna, I'm doing great. Thanks for being part of the live. Nanny, thanks for coming back. You're a regular here. Kelly, give me advice to really help. Do you know any drugs to reduce chest fat? I'm on cutting phase. I lose fat ever except chest. Never used anabolic, always natty. Well, they're the most commonly used drug to reduce fat is clenbuterol, which is ostensibly an asthma medication, but it's the most popular fat loss drug. It's used by competitors in every division, from bikini all the way up to open bodybuilding. I've used it many, many times. It's dosed in micrograms, and I'm not going to give out like a dosing schedule, but a little bit of clenbuterol, it would probably help you lose that fat. I wouldn't recommend like thyroid drugs, especially someone that's never used drugs. I'm not going to tell you. And I certainly would not recommend DNP. Very powerful fat burner. It's the most powerful fat burner. It's also the most dangerous. It's one of the only ones that a slight overdose of it will kill you. that day. You'll die that day. So, wow, not worth it to me. I'd rather just take a little longer to diet. But yeah, if you want to also check if it's persistent, it might be like a fat deposit. You might have like a lipoma or something. It might be like loose skin. You know, a lot of us, especially as we get older, if you've been bigger in your younger years and now you've lost some mass, you're gonna have a little bit of loose skin there. Just like an overweight person, obese person that loses a lot of body fat, their skin they're gonna have that skin that was stretched out. So I'm going through the same thing myself right now. I noticed I have a little bit of a fold here, and it's skin. It's because my chest is still fairly big. It's still fairly thick, but it was bigger before. It was bigger before. So I have like a little fold here. It's skin, but I could tell if I get a little bit leaner, it won't be as noticeable. Hope that helped. It's like with the car, if you drive faster, fuel consumption increases. Yeah. So PB is referring to the first question we talked about at the beginning of this live. Yeah, because I'm way behind. About walking a mile versus running a mile. You will burn more calories running a mile. Just like if you drive 10 miles at 30 miles an hour, assuming you're not stopping, it's just steady driving, no stoplights or anything, versus going 10 miles where you're going 80 miles an hour, you're going to burn more fuel. Same distance, but the engine's working a lot harder. You're going to burn more fuel. So I don't even know how that guy got away with making that claim. And in the comments section, like almost nobody seems to be challenging that. They're just saying, well, fat people they eat too much. Hi, Ron, how do you recover and stop T3 after a cutting cycle? Yeah, I mean, I don't have a lot of experience in that. That's actually a good question for the doctor. I do a weekly show on this channel with Dr. George Touliatos from Athens, Greece, called Ask Dr. Testosterone. If you would like to, please post that picture, post that comment or that question in the comment section under the last video that we did, which you'll see on this channel. It has like a cartoon horse and a cartoon bodybuilder on it. He would be much more qualified to answer that question than I would, because I'm just a bro. I don't know, man. I'm not even a bro scientist. I'm just a bro. Love hearing old stories. Well, I got a lot of old stories. More old school stories. Give me a request, man. Jog my memory. Who you think going to win the M Pro Classic? Goku, Luffy? Probably Bonac. Krizo and Tabani both look awesome too. I wouldn't be shocked if either guy wins. Who else was in that show? Now I got to look at the lineup. M Pro Classic. Let's see. I'm going to go to the lineup. I'm going to go to M Pro Class. IFBBpro.com. That's where I'll go. Because I haven't looked to see if there's been any changes. I haven't seen if there's been any changes to that. That's important because sometimes there's names added to the. Okay, so let's go. Present screen. Okay, here is the lineup. Let's see. We got Bonac. Bonac's definitely someone who could win. Sasan Haradi from the UK looks very good. I don't see him beating those three guys, but it could happen. Krizo, Pablo's very good. He's not gonna. I don't think see him beating them. Beirut, okay. Samir Trudy also very good. I still think it's going to come down to Bonac, Krizo, and Beirut Tabani. Yeah, that's what I think it's going to come down to. So I was each good because sometimes I need to hear old school shit. Give me an idea, Mike, because I don't remember. Here we go. Here's did Luzwick Strandley Priest in LA? It was mentioned in Connor's book. So I used to work for a guy named Luzwick. He owned a company. It was his company called American Sports Network, and he produced programming for ESPN and later ESPN2 when that became a network. We did the American Muscle Magazine show. I worked for him for about 8 years. We also produced for ESPN 1-hour event shows for Mr. Olympia, Ms. Olympia, Men's USA, Women's USA, Arnold Classic, and he put on his own events starting in '93, Muscle Mania and Fitness America pageant. Anyway, he was a talent scout. He would always try to find up-and-coming bodybuilders no one had heard about, and he discovered so many people, like so many big names, like almost every big name of the 80s and the 90s. he was the first one to really give them publicity on his TV show before they were in magazines and winning shows. So anyway, Lee Priest, he brought Lee out from Australia. And I know there's two sides to every story. So he would bring these guys out, usually fly them, pay for their flights and everything. And then he would put them up at the Marina Pacific Hotel, which was down the street from Gold's and World's Gym in Venice. And I don't know, they expected, the bodybuilders expected him to sponsor them, just give them money for nothing, they would appear on his TV show, like some workout footage or whatever, but he expected them to support them, Lou to support them. And I don't think Lou really planned on doing that. So Lee was one of those guys. He flew him out. And then I think Lee was supposed to figure out a way to support himself after that, after a couple weeks in Venice, which he eventually did. But stranded, I guess that's a way to look at it. What happened that time was he brought him out, and he was going to have Lee compete in the Niagara Falls show that we were covering. And I did go out and cover that show. I was out there for that, the 93 Niagara. It was 93, right? So Lee was an amateur. He had won the Mr. Australia title, I think 3 times at that point. But Wayne DeMille wouldn't give him a pro card. Lee had petitioned for it. I don't know if he was too young. I think he was 22 at the time, 21, 22. The first time he won it, I think he was only like 17 or 18, really. I think he was like 18. They wouldn't give him a pro card. So he was at Gold's Gym, and he was training. We were going to fly him out to Niagara, to New York, I think for that show. And Jim Mannion happened to be in Gold's Gym, Venice. And he saw Lee, and he's like, wow, you're fantastic. You look great. Who are you? He says, I'm Lee Priest. I'm from Australia. You a pro? No, I've won the Mr. Australia 2-3 times, whatever it was. But I'm getting ready for this show, the Niagara Falls Pro-Am, and I'm doing the amateur. And Jim made a couple phone calls to Wayne DeMille, and Lee was in the pro show instead of the amateur show. Gave him his pro card just like that. So, yeah, that's a good story about Lee. But, yeah, I mean, I'm not going to throw Lou under the bus, but he did bring a lot of guys out to L.A. initially, and he would put them up for a little while, and then I think he just expected them to figure out a way to support themselves, whereas some of them had no plans on doing that. They just thought Lou was going to pay them a salary just to train and eat, on his dime, and their only payment back would be they would appear on his show, the American Muscle Magazine show. We would shoot like workouts and profiles, but there was like an endless supply of bodybuilders. We didn't need to support anybody. These guys were fantastic. These guys like Matarazzo, DeMeo, Flex Wheeler, a lot of these, Dennis Newman. Gosh, there's so many that he put on that show before they were stars. But he had no intentions. I don't know if financially he could have even supported all these guys. I mean, the return on investment wasn't that great. He got the same amount of sponsorships for the TV show, whether he had them on or not. But anyway, yeah. So, do I coach people? David, yes, I do coach people. If you go to my Instagram, contact me. My Instagram is, let's take a look at my Instagram, shall we? It's the same as this channel. It's Ron Harris Muscle. Can I go to it? Yeah, here we go. Take a look at my Instagram so you know where to go. So if you message me here on my Instagram, Ron Harris Muscle, we can talk about coaching. Sure. I'd love to coach you. What a great Instagram page. I've only got, this is weird. I've got 29.8, but I've had that same amount forever. And every time I look at my notifications, every day I get like between 10 and 20 new followers, but that 29.8 never changes. It's the strangest thing. Things that make you go, Anyway, he still looks huge. How are you doing? I'm doing great. How's Hunter's exercise translate on the Mr. Olympia stage? Time will tell. Well, actually, we're going to see Hunter soon. We're going to see him in a couple weeks. When is that show? He's doing the Italy show, I believe. He's getting ready for Flex Pro Italy. Oh, that's actually just a week away from Sunday. So we're going to see Hunter. We're going to see him in contest condition on stage in like 9-10 days. So we'll see. And then how will he do in the Olympia? I don't know. Will Rami be at the Olympia? Competing? I'm sure he'll be there, at least as a spectator and a guest of honor. Will he be competing? I don't know. All the pictures he's been posting, like all the stuff where he's in shape and like with his shirt off, they're all like throwbacks. I don't know if Rami's ever going to compete again. Like, everything's like from prep files. So let's take a look at Rami. Here is his. Don't know when this was. If this is recent, he never. A lot of times Rami doesn't say when these are, but then somebody will match it up with old videos or old posts and videos, and so this is 2017, guys. This isn't recent at all. He's talking, just talking there. He's always big. I mean, he's certainly still training. Still looks like he could jump back on the stage. Will he? See, even here, someone's saying, "Is he coming back?" I'm wondering the same thing, and someone says, "I don't think so." We don't know. Only Rami knows. Like secrets. Oh, he's got an ebook apparently. Okay, good for him. Yeah, if this is recent, this is 16 weeks ago. He's all covered up. That's his company. Yeah, there's no real recent updates from Rami as far as how he's looking. We're still months and months away. This is half a year ago. This is 6 months ago. Yeah, I don't know, man. I have no idea if Rami. I don't even know if Rami knows. If Bonac beats Chris Russo with silent slot and naysayers, yeah, Raymond, thanks for joining us. Because most bodybuilders, especially when they take time off and they're over the age of 40 and they come back, they're usually not as good as they were before. It's, Father Time beats, he wins. He's undefeated, as we say. Father Time is undefeated. Eventually, age gets the best of every athlete. No athlete stays on top of their game forever. That's why we don't have like 90-year-old UFC champs or 90-year-old guys running up and down the field in the NFL, because they're not, their bodies aren't what they used to be. The bodies break down, the joints break down, the connective tissues, mineral loss in the bones, all kinds of crap. But yeah, Bonac looks amazing. I'd love to see it. I love comebacks. I love underdogs. And he's certainly, I think he's 44 years old now. So that's an underdog to come back in middle age. That's middle age. Krizo is a young guy. I think he's like 29. Beiruz, probably early 30s. They're both significantly younger than him. If he can beat them, and if more importantly, if he can look as good or at least very close to how he did at his best a few years ago, it's going to be a huge redemption for him. So wishing him the best. Krizo need midsection more sharper in front lat spread pose. Yeah, that you see that a lot. You see a lot of guys where the abs sort of really go away in that pose. Samson, I hope someone like a coach tells Krizo to get a tan before the show. Giles made sure the last time he showed up. Day of the show, white as a sheet. Yeah. There's a few bodybuilders that are like that. I remember like Dennis Wolf never got any kind of tan before. He's incapable of tanning. He told me this when we used to do the Q&A column for MD together. Big Bad Wolf. Dennis only burns. He doesn't get any kind of suntan. Dorian was the same way. Dorian didn't tan. If you have the right I always believed in having a base tan personally. That's me. I was just an amateur. But it didn't seem to matter. Dorian had great stage color, even being white as a sheet before the show. Dennis got his color right. He was having issues with it in his early stages of his pro career, but he figured out what he needed to do. Branch is another guy who was fairly white up until contest time, and then used the color to get the proper stage color. Bonac is a shadow of himself. Legs back, arm, everything's atrophied. Even if he's perfectly, he's not beating Krizo Beiruz. I have Beiruz winning. Great structure. We'll see, Mark. I mean, I hope not, but you could be right. Yeah, his leg is smaller. Yeah, I did see that. See the video of that shoot? Where's that video, Mike? Where's that video? Let me know. I want to see that. Yeah, you could see the leg. It's the right leg because it's on the left on the screen every time he posts pictures and videos. So it's the right. That's the one that he injured, I think. And it is smaller. It is smaller. Mark says everything is small. The lats are nowhere near what they used to be. Oh, now you got me wondering. Let's go to his recent updates just another time. Let's focus on the back shots. When was that? Oh, that was old. I'm not going to look at old stuff. Try to stay current with his updates. So this is 2 weeks ago. All right, so this is 2 weeks ago. We're going to look at with William. This was some posing a couple weeks ago. core turns, everything atrophied. That leg is definitely a little smaller. It looks pretty good there. Yeah. That back doesn't look, I mean, no, I don't know, dude. He doesn't look that much smaller to me. I would say it. I mean, I like the guy, but if he was looking very much noticeably smaller, I would call him out. I would say it. I mean, I have no problem. I have no problem saying that if I believed it. Those kids, there's another shot. This was 3 weeks ago. Yeah. I think he still looks pretty damn good. Is it going to be good enough to win? That's what remains to be seen. Is Krizo lacking glute size? Yes, he is. He really needs, it's his whole posterior chain. He needs more back thickness. He needs more hamstring development, and he needs more glutes. It's from the front. He's very push, like, push day, pull day legs. That's what I train, push, pull legs. He's very push muscle dominant. Massive shoulders, massive chest, triceps are crazy on that guy. The back actually has really good biceps, so my whole push-pull argument doesn't really stand 100% there, but back does not really match that huge, thick chest and the shoulders. But, he's a young guy. Big fan of Beirut. Hope he gets to the O. Yeah, it's a shame because, as Milos pointed out in that interview, he's actually prepped for shows, like 100% gone through the prep, and then at the very last minute, didn't get the visa. So can you imagine going through a whole 16-week contest prep, the dieting, the PEDs, the fatigue, all the stuff that you go through for a prep to get into that crazy condition that he does, and then boop, it's all just snatched away. No, you can't compete. You can't get the visa. You can't get to this country. So I feel for the guy. That's awful. Beirut is legitimate Mr. Olympia potential. Short torso, long legs, small waist, wide shoulder crease. Needs way better posing, a little bit more size to be ready. Yeah, he doesn't need much more size. Like I said, in that comparison from Romania, he held his own with Samson and with Nathan Dasha, who are both big dudes. Derek always asked me for the pec bounce. No, I'm not doing it, dude. Not unless I have an OnlyFans, and I don't. Do you guys potential to go pro in men's physique? No, I don't blow smoke up my son's butt. I don't make him think he has any greater genetics or anything than he does. His genetics, honestly, are not as good as mine for physique competition. They're not that far behind, but I didn't have great genetics, and I didn't go that far. I got to the national level, placed top 5 a few times, got second place once at the Universe in the open men's heavyweights, but I never turned pro. He wouldn't do men's physique anyway. He doesn't like, he's got big legs. He loves training legs. That's one thing he did get for me was the leg genetics. He's got really good quads, really good sweep to the quads. Hams are coming in. He's got a pretty decent clavicle width, very narrow waist. Arms aren't great, just like mine were never great. Got a good chest, just like I always had a good chest. Back, he really needs more of a back. That's what I'm focusing on with his training. I even have him doing like a few sets of a rowing motion in between his back workouts at another workout. But no, I don't think he has pro potential. No. And that's, who cares? I mean, that's so insignificant. He has no interest in pursuing that as his career anyway. But Mike says, I hate going to the cardiologist. Well, I mean, it's the worst part. I know Mike hates you hate going into the MRIs, right? Not the MRI. Yeah, it is the MRI. The tube where you have to stay still for a long time, MRI. That's how they do the calcium score, I think, in that thing. After they inject the dye, you have to go into that. Be quiet, Branch. We got Xavier. Post our pod. So, yeah, that's Xavier Willis with Desktop Bodybuilding. If you're familiar with the channel, he's over in Australia there. Actually, unless he's already moved, he was in Tasmania, where the Tasmanian Devil cartoon character's from. And we did a podcast. We actually went over Toronto. Did you ever post that? And then we did, is that the one you're talking about? Yeah, because didn't I do? That's the one I did, Toronto. I did one with you and Stan and Leo. Did that ever post? Anyway, yeah, I like to go on his channel whenever I can. He's a cool guy. I like Xavier a lot. Darren, you make me sound F up. I'm 60 and test training. Imagine I'm gambling with my health. Well, Darren, you may be, you may not be. I mean, The only way to know is to get your medical test done, get your blood work done, go to the cardiologist, get a workup on your heart. You might be in perfect health. I have no idea. Some people tolerate drugs, and even the more dangerous drugs, better than others. I mean, I certainly abused steroids for many, many years, and knock on wood, I mean, considering my organs, my heart, my kidneys, they're all in pretty good shape. Whereas a lot of other guys who did the same exact things I did, maybe even less than what I did, they're not doing so hot. So, I don't know, Darren. I don't know what your health is like. Only you would know, and only you would know by going and getting it tested. You can't just look in the mirror or go by how you feel. You really should get regular blood work done. I'd say at least twice a year. I mean, if you're on gear, and I wouldn't just do what most of us meatheads do, which is not get the blood work done while we're on the cycle. We wait until we're off the cycle for like a month or two, and then we get our blood work done because we're really afraid to see what's going on while we're on a full-blown cycle. But all these doctors who deal with bodybuilders will say, no, that's not what you do. Then you have no idea what's really going on for those, few months or whatever, however long you're on your cycle. Get your blood work done right at the height of a cycle to see what your lipids are like, monitor your blood pressure, all that. So, yeah, Darren, I don't know. You might be in great health. You might not be. That remains to be seen. Yeah, desktop is good. He is very good. When you did, what's that? I think that's supposed to be pot because it's just a flower. Did you have a favorite strain of Prestiva or Indica? I didn't have a favorite strain. I mean, we just opened up dispensaries in my state, Massachusetts, a couple of years ago. It just became legal a couple of years ago. Typically, I would get a hybrid of both Indica and Sativa. So Indica is the one that makes you sleepier, very relaxed, and a lot of people use it to go to sleep. They'll smoke it in the early evening and they'll knock the hell out, late at bedtime. Sativa doesn't make you as tired. A lot of people use that for things when they want to be more creative because it doesn't make you sleepy and groggy. I didn't have anything that was called Kush. I wasn't that knowledgeable or that picky, to be honest with you, but I did love weed, loved it for many years, was a very, very regular smoker, smoked every damn day for years and years and years at night after I got all my work done. That was like my reward. I only quit at the beginning of this year, a few weeks, I think it was 3 weeks before my hair transplant surgery in Istanbul, Turkey. And then I found out that the THC, the active ingredient, the chemical that makes you high, weakens the hair follicles and makes your hair thinner. And everything I read said if you've had a transplant and you really want the best result and the best hair regrowth possible, stay away from THC, stay away from cannabis, even the gummies. It doesn't matter what form you smoke it or edibles. It doesn't matter. It's all THC. You can even take THC pills. I have some that I'm not going to take. So that's why I quit. It was pure vanity for my hair because my hairline was up to here. I was losing a lot of hair. It was receding pretty badly, and it's growing in very well. It's been like 5 months now, and it's going to take about a year for the full result, but I'm very happy so far. And I don't want to screw it up. It includes stores in Venice Beach when you do these. I'll give you one Venice Beach story, Mike. One. So it was like 96. Ronnie Coleman came out to Los Angeles. I think he did some work. He was sponsored by Metrex at the time. So I think he did some photo shoots for them. I think he just won maybe the Canada Cup or something. It wasn't the Olympia. He wasn't Mr. Olympia yet. He was starting to win shows though. And I think he came out to LA because Metrex had a gym down in Irvine. It was in Orange County. Did a photo shoot with them for Metrex. And while he was there, Metrex was one of the sponsors of our show, the American Muscle Show on ESPN. So we did some filming with him. I took him down to work out at World Gym Venice, and we did the workout footage. Then we had him change into he brought his police officer's uniform. And he was a police officer. He wasn't an LAPD. He was on the force in Arlington, Texas. But we had him walk down the boardwalk and just showing him walking, getting people's reactions like, oh my God, because he was in the short sleeve police shirt, uniform shirt with the collar, and the sleeves rolled up, and his arms were like 23 inches. He didn't have shorts on. He had pants on and the boots, the cop boots. But people were freaking out. And then at one point, we walked past the basketball courts in Venice, which are right next to the weight pit. Those basketball courts were made famous in the movie White Man Can't Jump with Woody Harrelson and who played Blade? Wesley Snipes. Yeah, Blade. So a bunch of kids were playing a game, and they saw Ronnie. Ronnie was just sitting there looking at them for a minute, because it was a pretty lively game going on. They stopped their game and they said, "Hey, you want to do some free throws?" And Ronnie's like, "Sure." And Ronnie came over and he was horrible. I think it was all, he didn't get one in the basket, and the kids were just laughing. And Ronnie wasn't upset. Ronnie, it takes a lot to get Ronnie upset. But as we're walking away, he said to me, he said, "Man, basketball was in my thing. I was into football." And I'm like, "Ronnie, don't worry about it." So that's my Ronnie. That was my Venice speech. In your book, you have an electrolyte and mineral supplement added to various meals. Which one do you recommend? I actually do. That book was written years ago, and I've changed up. I take a men's multivitamin now for guys over 50. There's a few different ones on the market. Can't recall the name of the one I use, but that's what I use for multivitamin, multimineral now. That book was written in 2008, so my supplement regimen has changed. I take a lot more health supplements now than I did back then. Things like apple cider vinegar, vitamin D3. What else? Vitamin C. A few different things. So that's what I do for the minerals. One day I'll do a hair like show. Appreciate you watching. Hair looks awesome. Thanks, Mike. Even the back is starting to come in now. I'll try to show you the top, the crown, which that's what actually was bothering me the most. I don't know why the front didn't bother me, because it was, now that I'm looking at the pictures from before, I'm like, oh man, my hair was receding badly. But the top, anytime I saw myself in the mirror from behind, or if I saw a picture of myself from behind, I was like, oh no, but I'll show you. See what it looks like. You see, it's coming in. It's coming in. It's not coming in as well as the front as this part, but I kind of expected that. Can you do a show on past story training contest? And you saying I enjoy hearing about old stories. Yeah, I'll have to put together just a list some old stories, and I'll have some footage and stuff. I'll try to have pictures and footage to illustrate some of the things. Semper Fidelis, Dixie Daisy Cups, Rosebud Snots. Well, I know Semper Fidelis is the Marine Corps slogan. It means always faithful. Dixie Daisy Cups, Rosebud Snots. Okay, Mike Cox, I miss being big and jacked. Those crazy pumps. You're still pretty big, Mike. You're never going to be a small guy. Don't miss the low back pumps from A-bombs. A-bombs are Androl 50 tabs. Yeah, I made a post the other day because I still get pumped, but it's nothing like how I used to get pumped. When I was on gear in the early years, let's say like the first 5 to 7 years of my gear use, which would have been, I did gear starting at the end of 97, all of 98, took off 99 and most of 2000. And then from like fall of 2000 on, it's been steady. The only time I came off again was 06, early 06 to late 07. So it was about a year and a half. Other than that, it's been pretty continuous. Anyway, my delts used to get the craziest pumps when I was on gear in those early years of gear use. Like they would like double in size. They got so big and round and full. And I remember I couldn't even raise my arms. I'd be doing like lateral raises, like cable laterals always gave me the craziest pump. Cable laterals, I do them behind the back, I do them to the front. And I remember my shoulders would get so pumped and tight, I couldn't raise my arms. And I would have to walk around for a couple minutes before I could do anything else. Those are the pumps I miss the most, I'll say. Does Novadex help reduce the size of chest fat, Ron, in your opinion? No, it doesn't, Nanny. It's something people use for gyno to try to reduce gyno. But chest fat itself, like I said, you might have a fatty deposit there, in which case you'd have to get liposuction. If it's loose skin, that skin surgery could take care of that. I mean, but if you have like one problem area of fat that won't go away and the rest of you is lean, I don't think it's going anywhere unless there's some sort of surgical intervention. I hate to be the bearer of bad news like that, but I got to be real with you. Getting old sucks. Yeah, it's better than being dead, though. I'll say it's preferable to being dead. I don't want to be dead. I'd rather be old than dead. And as long as I'm not, incapacitated in a wheelchair and, pooping in a diaper, that'd be pretty bad. Getting old is a privilege. Thank you. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, we're alive. It means you're alive. And also, you you've gotten to see a lot of changes in culture, society, the world. You know, I mean, those of us who are over 50, we've seen so much in our lifetimes. We've seen technology go from where it was, you know, when I was a little kid in the 70s. I was born in September 1969. The advances we have made in technology are just astonishing. It's crazy. We used to see science fiction movies in the 70s that, you know, they'd show things that now, like, we're way past that. We don't have like flying cars. We don't have interstellar travel, but, you know, we have these things. If you had showed one of these and everything it can do to somebody in like 1975, they would have lost their mind. They would have been just in disbelief at all the things, you know, FaceTiming, internet, email, texting, chatting, watching movies, downloading music, all the things that one little phone, that one little iPhone or Android or Galaxy, whatever you have, can do. Crazy. And that's just one minor example of the technology advances. But you know, the internet and all that and smartphones, just that would have we would have been like showing fire to a caveman at that point. You know, well, the caveman had fire. That was a terrible analogy. People forget just how awesome Dexter looked the other night because of how Jay and Branch showed. Dexter looked incredible. Yeah, I mean, that was Branch's lifetime best. Jay looked awesome. Some of those shows, man, they were just stacked. Peg bounce, you get a schmo for $100 per pack. That'd be $200. I could use $200 right now. Sure. Sacco Janasian from my gym. What's up, man? What's your favorite gym in New England? Come on now. Bayshore Athletic Club in Braintree. Bayshore Athletic Club in Braintree, Mass. It's my gym. It's only about a 25-minute drive for me. It's got so much equipment, like 15 different leg presses, 12 squat racks, 20 or 30 benches where you can bench press with a bar. Just such a variety of equipment, tons of room, tons of cardio equipment, a lot of really serious trainers there. There are other great gyms. I like in Fall River, Mass, there's one called General Fitness. Is very good. A lot of great old school equipment. I haven't been to a lot of that. I like Gym Hub in the city. That's Nate Tello's gym. It's a little smaller, but it's all hand-picked equipment. Jose Raymond's a trainer there. He coaches and trains people out of that gym. You know, him and Nate picked out all the equipment in that place. It's like they have Panada, they have Old Flex Leverage. They have a lot of cool stuff in that place. That's Gym Hub in downtown Boston. I've never been to Impact Fitness. I think that's in Saugus. There's some other cool gyms, but I love my gym, Bayshore Athletic Club. Derek, you're out of control. Oh, Connecticut. So the one in Connecticut. Oh, yeah, I forgot. New England encompasses Connecticut. Yeah, I was just down there a few weeks ago with my son at the Powerhouse, the Montanari Brothers Powerhouse Gym that is in New Haven, Connecticut. Awesome old equipment there. A lot of new equipment too, but that's another great old school. That was Evan Centopani's. He still goes there sometimes, but that was his gym where he trained at for his entire amateur and pro career. Powerhouse Gym, Montanari Brothers Powerhouse Gym. They're also contest promoters. Derek Lunsford versus Brandon Curry at their best. I don't know. That's a good one. I don't know. Probably Curry. Looks like the chest has lost fullness, also Bonac, especially where the gyno was removed. Yeah, getting old sucks. A lot of people saying Bonac was downsized. It's hard to tell. It's hard to tell going off these pictures. Some pictures he does, and some pictures he doesn't. When we see him up there next to Krizo and Beirut, if he's downsized, it will be exposed immediately. Raymond, yeah, you know what? I loved weed. I loved it. I'm not going to lie. I loved it. Loved getting high and being chill and relaxed. And movies were better. Music was better. Food tasted better. But I was eating a lot of junk food. It always made me want the bad food, the salty, sugary, fatty, crappy stuff. But yeah, my mental clarity is so much better. My vocabulary's come back. I have more energy overall. And you know, I'm not that guy to preach against. I'm not anti-weed, and I'm not telling you guys not to smoke. And I'm just saying, you know, I didn't want to quit. I was sort of forced to quit if I wanted. I had to choose between my hair transplant being successful or continuing to smoke weed, and I chose the hair over the weed. And yeah, I feel fine. It's. I'd say the first couple of weeks were the worst. After about a month, I didn't crave it as much, and now I still miss it, but I don't like crave it. Thank you. Awesome story. So hair looks good. Thank you, Mandy. Thank you, Mandy Tall with the biggest calves ever. Sweet spot test dosage wise for best gains of minimal size. I'd say it was like 750 a week, which is that's a hefty dose. That's not a small amount. Sides, I would still get some water retention and stuff. And, my estrogen was higher, but I did pretty well on that. That was a lot of tests for me. Highest, I think I went to a full gram on one cycle. I don't think, most times I never felt the need, because I think after I tried the gram versus 750, I didn't see any difference in the results. I wasn't getting any stronger or any bigger than I was. I said, I'll just save money and save my health a little bit and just back it down. 750 will be my max. And, I haven't gotten that high in years and years. The last time I used that much test, 750, was probably like 2013 when I was competing. When I quit, that was my last year competing. Jumped in late. What's the best exercise to grow my forearms? Thanks, Big Ron. So if your gym has one of those, like a wooden cylinder, a wooden dowel, what do you call them? I don't know. Like a wooden cylinder. I don't know what the hell you call it. With like a string, it's like a little rope, and you put the rope on the end or something like that, and you just roll it back and forth, and you unroll it. That's great. Anything that pumps up forms. Wrist curls, you can do those either with like a barbell or a dumbbell. So you're bent down, but I'm trying to show you while I'm facing up. Wrist curls will be in, then reverse wrist curls will be like that. You can do them with cables or dumbbells or a barbell. They all work pretty well. Will low inserting bicep Iskander always look flat, or can something be done? Same question for triceps as well. Well, if you want low insertions, we're talking about so the insertion of the muscle is here. This is the origin. This is the insertion. So you want this to come as close to the elbow as possible, because then you have a longer muscle. You have more muscle cells to work with and develop. It's true that a lot of guys that have the really long biceps don't have the peak shape to their biceps, but good examples are Sergio Oliva Jr., Sergio Oliva, the 3-time Mr. Olympia, had very long biceps. He didn't have much of a peak. They were kind of like a football shape, but they were enormous. He had like 22-inch arms back in the late 60s, early 70s. Kevin Leveroni, another example of somebody with really long biceps, didn't have much peak to them. Ronnie Coleman had shorter biceps with a tremendous peak. You'd say the same about like Robbie Robinson, Albert Beckles, a lot of guys. So it's a genetic thing with the shape of your biceps. You can't really change the shape of your biceps. Preacher curls don't give you more of a peak. So, I wouldn't worry about it. I'd just be happy if you have long triceps and long biceps. Be happy, because that means you have far more potential for size in the arms than someone who has less. Like my right triceps is so short. It's the one that I tore, but it was always shorter than the left one anyway. And you look at how far down this is from the elbow. Look at that. There's so much space there. Whereas somebody else, there's a lot of guys at the gym I go to, even though their tricep, this isn't a gap. See right there? That's the end of that tricep right there. Other guys, it goes all the way to the elbow joint, and they can build these big, full, round triceps. So just be very happy if you have long biceps and tris. Masturbation, I don't think it does that much for you. Otherwise, yeah. Impact is in Auburn. Thank you. I love Bayshore too. The banner gets in the way of your demonstration where the lats tie in. Whole upper body is covered over by the banner. Let's get rid of that. All right, so let's try to show the bicep thing again. How crappy that is. I think you understand what I'm trying to say. So here's a muscle. Here's your bicep. There's your elbow. The further back it is, the shorter the muscle is. A long bicep will go all the way to the elbow. See, I have a little bit of a gap there. There's a gap. There's no muscle there. Other guys have no gap at all. It goes all the way down. And that's what you want. You want no gap. You want the muscle to be long and go all the way down to the joint for the arms. You can say the same thing about a lot of other muscles too, like lats. People with high lat insertions versus lats that go all the way down to the hip joint, like Franco Columbo, the late Franco Columbo's lats, or Dorian's or Lee Haney's. They're going to build better, wider, thicker lats because they have a lot more lat to work with, lat muscle. All right, back to some comments, and then I'm going to say goodbye. J-Boot, dang, I've only got 500 milligrams about to start cut this process. I was curious. Yeah, if you find that stepping it up doesn't give you any better results, but you're just having like more side effects, take it back down. That's what I did. if you do find it gives you more benefit, obviously you're going to want to stick with that higher dose, but there's going to come a point, I think it's different for everybody, where this much test gives you all the gains you're going to get. And beyond that, maybe slightly more gains, but a lot more side effects. Like with something like with tren. A lot of people find that after a certain amount of tren, they barely see any more results in terms of strength and size gains, but they're getting night sweats, insomnia, the tren cough. They're just feeling like shit. So there's no point. Yeah, there's a lineup for MPro. It's on ifbbpro.com. It's actually been out all week, Noah. So go to ifbbpro.com. ifbbpro.com. I'm going to show you one more time. This is where you can always find the lineups for any pro show. They're usually posted that week on Monday, Tuesday at the latest. ifbbpro.com. They have the schedule. It's all the shows for the year for the various divisions. You see the tab on the left. You click on that if you want to see, well, what's the next 212 show? So you'll see all the 212 shows for the year, 212 Pro. If you want to see all the shows of women's bodybuilding, they're all there, and so on and so on. And then if you go to the homepage, come on now, help me out. That's not the homepage. I don't know why I ended up there. So here's the homepage, and like if you click on, it'll say if there's a competitor list added. So like there, the MPro list, you click on that, and then you go here, competitor list, and there's a men's bodybuilding open, physique open, and so forth. Okay, hopefully. ifbbpro.com, guys. They also have score sheets like the day or two after every show. You can see the full scores. HGH Fragment, Happy Slave. If you don't know anything about it, I'm sorry. Most favorite pose in bodybuilding? For I don't know. I guess the crab most muscular, just the most brutal, hardcore pose. I guess I've always liked seeing that when somebody's got the thickness, the vascularity, the striations. I've always liked that. Yeah. Anyway, guys. All right, I'm going to take off here. Been going for a while. Over an hour. Oof, hour and 22 minutes. Good Lord. I'm going to do another one live tomorrow, guys. So keep your notifications up. I'm going to do one about El Campeón, the ego lifter out in LA. And I'm preempting this by saying nothing personal against the guy. I actually think he's a very nice guy, cool guy, God-fearing Christian man with a heart of gold is what I gather. It's his ego lifting that I have a problem with, and I don't want people emulating it. So I'm going to do a little video about that live tomorrow. So if you have your notifications on, you'll hear about that. All right, time for one last one. So guys, thank you so much for watching. I am going live tomorrow, but if you're not going to catch me on that, happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. Hope you enjoy your special day. Please spend it with your kids. And that's it, man. Appreciate you all watching. Please subscribe, like, share, ring that bell. Have an awesome weekend, and I will see you later.